So our bitstream generation is successful. Now we proceed and export an hardware file, right? So file, export hardware. Okay, remember our project is project 18, right? So we click next. We will be including a bitstream. Click next. Okay, and we will be exporting our wrapper file in the project underscore 18 folder, right? So once this is done, we'll just be clicking on finish. And once you successfully export an XSA file into project underscore 18, which is the same folder where we have all the Vivado directories located, we'll just be launching a Vitis ID, right? Now here we will be choosing the same directory for our workspace. So we click on browse button, we choose project underscore 18, okay, and then we will be launching an ID. So once our ID is ready, the first step that we follow is to create a platform project, right? So where we will be invoking the XSA file that we have created for the Vivado design, right? So we go to create platform project. We'll just be naming this as GPIO. Click next. Click on browse button. Go to a folder where we have our XSA file. So it is in project underscore 18, and then we'll just be opening it, right? So once you successfully import the platform, click finish. So once your platform project is ready, the first step that we follow is to build the project. So just press Ctrl and B, right? So this will automatically start building the project, right? So once build is successful, you'll be finding the out of date message will be gone. And then we select the platform project, right click, new, and then application project, right? Again, we will be invoking the hello world template over here. So we just name this as GPIO underscore SW. Right, click next, and then we will be choosing an hello world template, right? So this is exactly similar to what we've been doing from the beginning. Now we go to a source tab. Okay, so we will be adding the code here which we use to send the data onto an LED, right? So I've already copied the code, and that is what we're gonna add over here. So we'll quickly go through an entire code. Okay, so let us just go through a code quickly. Now, since we are working on a GPIO, so the mandatory driver for us is xgpio.h, okay, and then we required xparameter.h, right? So we declare two structure. One of them is a config structure, other one is an instance structure. We call lookup config where we pass the device ID, and then this will generate the config structure. We use cfg initialize, added an argument as an instance structure, config structure, and base address. And then we are checking whether initialization is successful or not, right? Then the only thing that we need to do in our main application is to correctly set the direction. Now here we were working with an LED, right? So we added 0 for each bit where we have an LED, right? So 16 LEDs that we want to control, so 16 0, right? And X basically indicate that we are specifying each number in an hexadecimal format, right? So 4 hexadecimal digit is equivalent to 16 binary digit, and here we set all the 16 LSB bit as an output, right? And then we are sending the data by calling discrete write. Okay, here we are first turning on all the LEDs, we are waiting for a delay of 1 second, and then we are turning off, right? So what we're gonna do here is, now since we are analyzing our signal on an ILA, so delay of 1 second is not required because that is very big delay, right? So what we're gonna do is we'll just keep adding a delay, and we'll be generating some random transactions. Okay, so just a random value that we'll be sending on an LED without a delay, right? So 1 2 1 2, then so these are some of the random values that we will be sending on to an LED, right? So here we have not added delay because it is not necessary, right? Because we will be analyzing each and every signal on ILA, okay, and that could be analyzed at an higher rate, so we do not need to add any delay, right? So once our application is ready, so let us just build an application project. This will automatically create an ELF file. So remember, an entire data that we are sending is wide one, right? So this will be continuously sending the data. So what we're gonna do here is, you need to at least run your application once, okay, to start capturing a signal in an ILA, right? So we'll try to execute our application. So select the application project, debug as, launch on hardware, right? We do not need to connect a Vitis serial terminal because we are not sending any data onto the serial terminal, right? So once our programming is successful, we will just be clicking on resume button. So once you click on this resume button, what will happen is our system ILA core will start getting the clock, right? So once we send the clock by clicking on resume button of our debug view, right? So we go to our Vivado, right? Then we go to an open hardware manager, right? And then we'll just be clicking on auto connect. So once you click on an auto connect, automatically you could see the vform viewer of an ILA. You won't be able to see any transaction right now, okay, because we need to set up the core and then we will be executing, right? So good idea whenever you are analyzing a transaction is to choose a signal that will act as the valid signal for a start of a transaction, okay, and then you click on this button, right? So then only we'll be arming our ILA core and then we'll be capturing a signal, right? Right now the core status is ideal. We go ahead and click on this plus button, okay? So the signal that mark the start of a transaction, if you consider an AXI, is AW valid, right? So this is the signal that is generated by a master to indicate that it have a valid data that you need to send to the slave. So slave in our case is a GPIO IP. We'll just be selecting this signal, okay? So that will mark the start of our transaction, and then this will be marking the start of transaction only when it is equals to 1, right? So we will be choosing that you start capturing a signal when this is not equals to 0, right? So whenever it is not equals to 0, that basically mark that master in our case is the microblaze have some valid data which it needs to send to the slave IP, that is GPIO in this case, right? Only in that case we'll start collecting the samples, and the number of samples that we'll be connecting is 1024, right? So you could also specify a window, for example, how many sample you want to collect before you have a trigger and after you have a trigger, right? So trigger for us is AW valid signal. So we go to the ILA setting. Now here we want to analyze a transaction only when we have a AW valid been high, right? So we do not need to analyze any of the transaction that we have prior to receiving a trigger. So we could just set this as 0. So all the 1024 sample will be after we have a valid trigger, right? This is what we're going to do. So once all the setting and trigger is correctly set up, we'll just click on this plus button, right? Since our application is running, now you could see that we automatically start to receive a transaction, right? So now you could see if you just zoom in a bit, okay, so we are writing a data to a GPIO, so no read transactions are observed over here, right? And then if you just bring this window back, so we could clearly see that we have a write transaction available. Okay, so AW channel is used to communicate the address, okay, and then W channel is used to communicate the data, and P channel is where we receive the response of a transaction. So AR channel similarly is used to convey the address and control information. R channel is where we receive the data as well as we receive a response of a transaction, right? So since we are not performing a reading operation, these two channels do not have any active transaction, whereas AW channel have a active transaction, right? So you could see the process is very simple. So we first send address and control information, then we receive the data, and finally we send the response of a channel. So if you analyze the response channel, if you receive an OK, that basically means the transaction is successful, right? And if you analyze an AW channel, now here you could clearly analyze the AW valid signal first become high. This indicates that master have some valid data which it want to send to a slave, and if slave is ready to accept data, it will simply raise AW ready, right? So this is how we initiate a transaction, and then we perform sending of an address and then followed by a data, right? Now if you analyze the second net that we have, where we receive the data that is actually going to an LED, so you could clearly analyze that we have 1212, 2322, 1111, 0333, FFF, and then 000, right? So this is exactly matching to what we are sending onto an LED, right? So we have FFF, right? Then 000, 1212, 2322, 1 1 1 1 and then 0 3 3 3, right? And again, since we are inside while 1, so we again start to get f, right? So this is how we probe annihilate and then analyze the data that is going on to a net, okay, as we perform a transaction.